So I had a conversation with someone I met on campus like last weekend, and she asked me what I'm planning to do with after I study, and I said I plan to do apologetics.
Good.
And so because I study science, and she told me she used to be in the faith, but she fell away because she saw the divinity in nature. So I went to scripture.
She saw what in nature?
The divinity in nature. And so
what does that mean?
I'm not sure. She sees nature as its own entity, like the earth as its own entity. So I brought her to Matthew 6 and saying, well, nature does all these processes because of God's grace. I brought her to Job 35:11 and so on. And then I went to Romans 1, which says people worship creation as opposed to the creator. And she was like, well, even after our conversation, I felt like there's no need for me to believe in a God. And I said, I gave you so much, not only biblical evidence, but scientific evidence. What would my response be to her? How could I, what could I talk to her about? What more resources could I use to kind of help her?
Well, I don't know if the problem is, or the problem's not the right word. I don't know if the reason she's not believing is intellectual or emotional. Let me give you, and I don't know if this applies to this lady, but I'll tell you what happened. I was in Dallas, Texas about 4 or 5 years ago. We were doing one of our seminars with Jim Wallace and Mike Adams called Fearless Faith. We were at the book table. A lady came up to me at the book table and she says, you got any books on Buddhism? I said, why? Why do you want a book on Buddhism? Well, my friend, she was a Christian and she just became a Buddhist. I said, look, I don't know your friend at all, but can I just ask you one question about her? Did your friend begin doing something that Jesus and Christianity would consider immoral recently? And she said, yeah. I said, bingo. The issue isn't Buddhism. She's not a Buddhist now because she thinks it's true. She's a Buddhist now because she wants to say she's spiritual and not have any moral accountability. That's why she's a Buddhist. So you can give her all the evidence in the world. That's not the issue.
Right.
You got to ask her, if Christianity were true, would you become a Christian? And if she hesitates or says no, evidence at this point is not going to matter. So I would just try and diagnose the problem and ask her, if it were true, would you become a Christian? Is truth your issue, or is your own desires your issue?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Turk.
Thanks.